Welcome back. And as was mentioned, we're moving into our first segment for today. And Rebecca Rath, Miss Belize Universe, is back in Belize. And we get to have an extended conversation with her this morning to talk about the experience in Manila and, of course, what it all means for her. So good morning and welcome. And thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Belize.
All right.
This was quite a journey for you. I could imagine the preparatory stage being in Belize and offering yourself for Miss Belize Universe. And then the journey began from there. Talk to us a bit about what it's been like in terms of the overall experience and what you've been able to take away from this particular experience.
It was unbelievable. I think being in Manila in that pageant was the time of my life. I got to meet so many beautiful and very accomplished women, and we were able to go through this experience together. You know, we formed some really strong bonds, and being able to be at the Miss Universe pageant, you know, I remember standing backstage before going on the stage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Belize is about to be on the stage, you know. So it was just like a big adrenaline rush, and being able to experience the culture and seeing the Philippines too was pretty cool, and definitely something I'll take with me for the rest of my life. So.
Now, Isani touched on the preparations in terms of going to the pageant itself. How much of what you thought it was going to be like actually turned out to be the truth, and how did the experience measure up?
I think it was a lot of what I expected. I didn't think we would be running on such little sleep. You know, some days we were up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to be ready for 6 or 5, and then we'd be going all day to events, charities, fashion shows, and then come back and you think, oh, we get to rest now, and then you have dinner. So you have to get ready and go to dinner, and so it was a lot of work, and it was very tiring, but it was so much fun to be in that experience, you know, and fully get to experience what it was all about. But I think we prepared fairly well. I mean, the wardrobe, the makeup, the issue, like being educated on the issues and being know how to talk about them. I think Belize did a very good job this year. I think we were able to make our mark. So. Yeah.
The support from Belizeans at home and abroad was overwhelming.
Unbelievable.
Just being able to cover your journey and getting that response and the feedback from people who are either online or people who are at home watching every step of the way. It shows that we were behind you.
I'm telling you, there were times, because there are girls in this competition that have been doing this for their entire lives. And so, of course, you can get intimidated very easily, you know, because there's so much more experience than you in that field. But I tell you, anytime I feel the slightest bit intimidated, I pull out my phone, I go on Facebook, I go on Instagram, and Belize just blows up, and it really, really gives you that extra push that you need, you know, that a reminder that you have your country behind you, just do your best. And so that, to me, that was the most important thing that I think I took from Belize, was the support from all the Belizeans.
Now, tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes, the things that we don't get to see. I love that you speak about the hectic schedule and getting up to get ready, because you have to prepare yourself and look like a queen everywhere you go. So tell us about some of the experiences that you didn't expect to have while you were there.
I think the fact that the schedule was so packed. You know, I was thinking we'd have one event a day, you know, and then we'd get to go to dinner casually, just eat and not really be in the spotlight at dinner. But you're there and you plan maybe one outfit a day, and it turns out to be 3 or 4. So it sounds really ridiculous with all the clothes, but you have to stand out in every way that you can. So being able to get up in the morning, get going all day, come back, gotta get going again, and then sleep for 3 hours, get up and do the same thing the next day. I think I wasn't prepared for the lack of sleep, but after a couple of days, I think I got used to it. And then, like I said, the adrenaline kind of took over, because you're there at the Miss Universe pageant, and it was very exciting. But other than that, I think we were very prepared. There are a couple of things that I learned that I think will help the next Miss Belize, you know, like the outfit thing. You can't plan for one a day. But I learned a lot, and I think we were very prepared.
I have a question for you, Lex. Okay. What made you decide to offer yourself for pageantry in the first place?
Never in my wildest dreams did I think. I mean, even a year ago, I never thought I would be just coming back from the Miss Universe pageant. I've been an athlete my entire life, so I've been competitive, and I've always been drawn to competition. But I have a cousin who's very involved in local pageantry, and she is the one that, you know, approached me, and she was like, Bex, I think you would be a good candidate, you should think about it. And at first I was no, absolutely not. I'm not going to do that. And after thinking about it, and I'm like, man, to go to Miss Universe would be really cool, and we'll be back after 9 years. I decided to give it a shot, and honestly, it was one of the best decisions of my life. I'm very glad that I did it.
Now, you were given quite a bit of airtime during the pageant itself and the preliminary events. And I think that that's one thing that Belizeans who were watching the show just thoroughly enjoyed, even in the preliminary events and the coverage there. What do you think made you stand out that people wanted to pay attention?
I didn't even get to see all the commercials or the clips where I was aired during the pageant, being able to get ready, and I was not able to actually see the pageant, but I had fun the entire time. I mean, whether we were at a beach or we were at an event that I didn't particularly like, I tried to make the best out of it, and I tried to just have fun, and I was always laughing and smiling, and with the girls, we were having a good time. So it wasn't always, oh, you need to sit up straight and focus, and you have to be so tense all the time. You just be yourself, and you have fun, because this is once in a lifetime experience, and I think maybe that, but I really don't know. I made friends with most of the photographers as well, because they were very, very nice people, and I think just being able to be myself and have fun is, I think, what people saw.
I think your costume was prominently featured in the, in the coverage as well. Talk to us a bit about that.
Well, we wanted to do something different. We usually do a jaguar or a Maya ruin or something, but this year we were thinking, what can we do that's different and it's just going to be wow? And David Matos and Roberta Dominguez, along with RH Creation in LA, they kind of came together and came up with the idea of the Scarlet Macaw, and went through a couple clips, and after putting all their ideas together, we came up with this bird, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. I remember being backstage putting it on, and all the girls and everybody was just like, wow, it's so beautiful. And it was I love it. I love that costume. It was a hit for sure.
Yeah. And your gown as well. So you worked with many Belizean designers, and I think this is something that I don't know what your knowledge was before of their existence and what they do, but I usually find that people, once they start to see the quality of work and the creativity, they're completely floored. What was your impression?
I mean,
you were with Julie Mango, RH Creations.
The outfits that Julie Mango made for me were hands down the best outfits that I had. She made a cocktail gown that I wore for the national auction. It was a gold long skirt with a big cape sleeve, and it was very unique and different, and she just came up with these ideas, and she was so excited and inspired by what she wanted to do. And so I wanted to wear something completely Belizean for the auction, and that's what I did, and it was beautiful. I mean, I loved the outfits that she made. They made me feel good, and when someone can do that for you, then that's talent.
What I found interesting, because I'll be honest with you, I haven't really watched or followed a pageant for this long, and then
a lot of people said that this year.
For what, 7 years we were suspended?
Nine.
For 9 years we were suspended. So in all that time, I wasn't really watching. But watching it the other day, I realized once again that it's a coming together of several different key features, for instance, where it's ambassadorship, it's modeling, fashion design, it's your knowledge of current events as well. How are you able to balance all of these things?
I went to school in the States for college, and I always wanted to come home, so I think I always just had this love for home and love for Belize, and I've always wanted to represent Belize. So initially going into this, I said I want to represent Belize. But going through it, I completely fell in love with the world of fashion and beauty and modeling, and that's an actual career that most of these girls in this pageant, that's what they want to do. They're pursuing a career, they want a chance to become a model or be in that spotlight. And I mean, I developed a whole new respect for that. And it was, I don't know. I'm still like on cloud 9 from the whole experience. But I think the team I had behind me too also prepared me for all of that. Prepared you for the questions or the issues that they might ask you about, and just being able to make your mark and know that, okay, Belize has a good representative. Oh, look at her, or so yeah.
And let's talk about that team. You speak of people who have been supporting you along the way, and you pointed out that you had to get pretty much lessons on all the vanity aspects, which, you know, nobody's really prepared to be a queen on stage.
Right.
So getting prepared for that, also keeping up to date with the current issues, preparing yourself for public speaking events. Let's talk about who helped you to prepare for these.
I have a long list, so I don't know how much time we have, but there's a lot of people I want to thank, but I'll leave that maybe for the end of the show. But in terms of walking and carrying yourself like a queen, you know, I had Enrique and Victor in San Pedro that we formed a friendship along the way. You know, they were reminding me to be in that mode until I get to Miss Universe. You know, don't let go of it, because you have to be it. You know, when you're there, you can't shut it off. And so they told me, always look your best. You know, take a lip gloss with you everywhere you go. And you know, it sounds very silly, but it's so important when you're out there. You know. And my mother, of course, me and her would have conversations almost every night, just discussing what's happening. And she would tell me, Rebecca, you sound like an airhead. You need to fix this. You know? Like, she was very, very honest with me, and I think that there were times where I thought that I was saying what I wanted to say and it was good, and she'd be like, no, that does not sound good. So it was tough, because you had to kind of question what you really believed in and how you said these things.
Develop a position.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to live it. You know, you got to believe what you're saying and what you know. And yeah, so that, and the heels, I think I've gotten much better in the heels. Before Miss Belize, I was not a heel.
Well, I can tell you a backstory here, because I remember when you wore the heels on one of your appearances here, and it was hard. We were speaking about that. And then I saw you walk on stage in the swimsuit competition, and I said, well, that is not the girl I saw on set on Open Your Eyes. Confident. I mean, you didn't even look fearful going down the steps. That's usually the hardest part.
Practice, I tell you, it's practice. And those heels are so high.
They are.
And it's amazing that the heel is like wobbly.
Yeah.
So I think if you think about it, you know, that's when you might trip or you fall. So you just just walk, just do it. And you just do it, and it worked out. So
that's where all the practice comes in.
Yes.
So you're now fully thrusted in the limelight, and you're also a role model for not only a majority of young Belizean girls who someday would want to see themselves on that stage as well, but by our Belizeans, young and old, as someone who represents the jewel. How do you feel being in this position where everyone's looking to you, looking at you, and see what's going on with Rebecca Rath?
I think it's a little odd, I think, because I've never tried to be in the spotlight. I always just did something I really wanted to do, and I did my best at it. And I think it's very cool that I was able to do that, do what I wanted to do my best, work very hard at it, and then it got me here, you know. And being able to see kids get excited to see you, and a little girl actually told me, you're still a winner, you actually won, you know, in my eyes. And that made me emotional, because these kids see that in you, you know. And I think being able to reflect that into them, especially at a young age, then that'll encourage them to want to do the same thing, you know, for them to do what they want to do their best, and just be themselves while doing it, and it'll work out for them. So it's a big role for me, I think, because I have so many little kids looking up to me, and I mean, young and old people looking up, and it's tough, you know, because it's a big job, but I'm honored that I have been able to get to that position, I guess.
And a lot of people have been sharing their thoughts and expressing how proud they are of you. And before and after the pageant, is there anything that somebody posted or said that really affected you?
Negatively, no.
No, I mean even positively.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many people, like people I don't even know, or I didn't even think would be ever watching Miss Universe. But just the fact that they would say, look at our costume, you know, look at Miss Belize in this competition. We're on that stage, we're representing, and she's doing so well. And I think everyone that posted anything, messaged me, did anything, I think all of that just fed the fuel, you know, and it kept you going, it kept me going. And it's amazing that from so many miles away, a country that, you know, has never really come together the way they did when I was out there, that in itself, that the country came together, was just
And I'm certain you felt that love on your return to what we would describe as sort of like a hero's welcome. What was that feeling?
I was so happy to be home, first of all. I mean, I just wanted to get off that plane and feel the heat just hit me. You know, when you get to Belize, you feel that. But walking off the plane, there was a big banner that said, "Congratulations, Rebecca." And in my head, I said, but I didn't win, but they made you feel like a winner still, you know, and there were so many people that welcomed me. They had a motorcade planned out and a press conference at the Bliss, and then I go home to Dangriga and there's a welcome home party on Saturday night, and today there's the motorcade, you know, so just the continued support, you know, even after it didn't turn out the way we all expected, the fact that everyone is still supporting, it's unbelievable.
So let's talk about the low point, facing the disappointment. Now, I know that in conversations with you before, you are a very ambitious person, and you set out to win Miss Belize Universe, and you plan to make a mark in the larger Miss Universe pageant. What was it like for you when the reality hit that you weren't going to make it to the semis?
I was so confident, like on that stage when they were calling the top 13. I think I had a very good interview. I think we were represented well throughout the competition. So when they called Miss Kenya, which was very unusual, that Kenya doesn't usually make it in the top 13, I said, all right, we're gonna make it, you know, this is different. But when they didn't call my name, you know, of course I was disappointed, but when I looked at all the girls that they called, they were all very good choices. They were very strong women, and they all stood for something they believed in. And so I think I was happy, especially with the way the competition turned out with the winner, Miss French. She was very, very nice the whole competition. I had a good relationship with her. I liked her a lot. And so I think that they made a good choice. And then they had Miss Canada in there, who was standing up for full-figured women, you know, and Miss Kenya, who was just the most soulful woman that I have ever met, you know. So I think they had very, very good choices. And I think that made me feel okay with the fact that, okay, we might not have made the top 13, but I think we're 14th, you know. But I think they had good choices, and so that made it easier, that they were good choices.
Now, when you got eliminated, did your attention or your support shift towards any one of the remaining, or the ones who advanced? Were you behind any one of them?
When I got off the stage and I went backstage to change into my swimsuit, I pulled out my phone, and on Facebook it's just blowing up. They're like, what? They meant to say Belize instead of Brazil. Steve Harvey made this mistake again. And no, everyone was really riding hard for Belize, and so I think that, of course, you feel like maybe you let them down a little bit, but nobody has said anything like that or really made you feel that way. They made you feel proud regardless of the outcome.
Because I think overall we acknowledged the effort that went into this, and I think Belizeans are able to see that and support regardless of what the outcome was.
Yes, definitely.
Now, Rebecca, Belize has represented in large pageants before, and I think a lot of people had a lot of hope in you this time around. They saw how hard you worked to be able to capture the crown. What would you say is something that future queens have to be able to take into consideration? Perhaps there's something they didn't realize is extremely important, an aspect of developing their own selves or how they represent themselves. What do you think are some of the things that you will pass on to future queens that they need to know about representing the country?
First of all, you cannot do it by yourself. You need to have a team behind you. You know, I had a phenomenal support team behind me, and that's the only reason we were able to do what we did at Miss Universe, you know, and without them, there was no way we'd even come close to just to making a mark, you know. And so besides that strong support team, I think she really has to analyze herself. You know, you have to believe what you're saying. You can't memorize an answer. You can't practice what you're gonna say. You have to know what it is that you believe, you know, and that way, no matter what they ask you, it'll just come. It might not sound like a Grammy speech, but the content will be right. And I think that's extremely important, you know, and being able to carry yourself and knowing how important it is to be on time, you know, and look your best at all times, and just do your best. You can't let your guard down. You can't say, all right, well, maybe they're not going to be judges today. They're always judges. So I'm looking forward to helping the next Miss Belize, because I'm confident we can make it in the top 13 or top 15, man. Yes.
And my next question has to do with the difference between Rebecca, the athlete of 2015, before you started this pageant journey, and Rebecca, Miss Belize Universe in 2017.
I think I am much more confident now. I mean, sports has given me confidence, but in sports you're on a team.
Yeah.
So you have 6 people with you, or however many people with you backing you up, you know, and you're supporting each other. Being Miss Belize, you have the country behind you, but you're on that stage by yourself. So it's a lot of pressure. I've learned how to work under pressure and keep who I am despite of all the chaos and all the drama or the busy schedules. I've learned how to calm myself down and know when I feel myself getting negative and knowing how to just switch that off and be like, all right, remember the end goal, you know. So I think it's helped me a lot. I've been able to connect with a lot of people that I probably never would have if I didn't do Miss Belize, and being able to meet all the children and the little girls that are so excited to see you, that you are able to inspire them, not knowing they inspired me as well, but being able to be in that position, you know. So it's
And what do you say to the critics who still think, I mean, I saw so many people saying, I never watch pageants, I don't care for beauty pageants, but I'm going to watch this time. What do you say to people who still think that investing time and energy in representing Belize in a pageant is a waste of time or energy?
When you look at pageantry, you think fashion, you think beauty. These girls just prancing around on a stage, you know. That's what I thought as well, but fashion and beauty, it's a career, you know, and you need models to sell a product, or you need models to represent something. And these girls that are pursuing this, they just want to pursue their dream, you know. If it's not the typical idea of what a dream should be, it's their dream, you know, and it teaches you so much more about yourself. And being able to walk in heels isn't that bad either. You got to know how to do it, you know. but there's so much more to it than what people think. It makes you a stronger woman, I think.
So what's next for Rebecca Rath?
Well, Rebecca Rath has been completely consumed in Miss Universe for the past 6 months, and she has no idea if she still has a job. So she needs to go back home and kind of get her life together, get back to work, because we need to make a living. And just kind of come down off of that cloud that I've been on, and then get back to work. You know, I have a couple school visits lined up already, and I just want to continue doing what I was doing and encouraging people to be yourself. You know, that Miss Belize is just a title, but I'm a regular person. Anybody could be Miss Belize or Mr. Belize.
All right, well, let's get into your thank yous.
Right.
I know you really wanted to be able to tell some people thank you today. So go ahead.
All right, so I would like to thank Pelican, Tanya McNabb Design, Benny's, Mr. Pierre Abonera, B-Call, Center Cable, Marie Sharp, Belize Bank, Atlantic Bank, Pelican Beach Resort. There are 70 plus employees that have really allowed me and my family to be consumed in Miss Universe. They've held down the hotel, and that's very, very important. Channel 5, of course. Pink Boutique, Marlene's Closet, Julie Mango for your perfect designs. RH Creation, David Matos, Roberta Dominguez, Belize Aggregates, Aldo Salazar, BTB, Maya Islandier, my Uncle Teresa and Uncle Scott Smith, Larissa Manor and Fernando Wong for additions to my wardrobe and my beautiful evening gown that I love so much. Sherry Magiti, Enrique, Michelle Nunes, Alex Sanker, Pen Cayetano, Holly Edgel Nitch, William and Samira Bowman, Norma Bowman, Alice Bowman, who anytime I had any outfit that was too big or needed to be altered, my grandmother was right there and she just fixed everything I had to. So my family has been very important. Solly Moreno, my mother and father, Teresa Rath and Tony Rath. Unbelievable. Definitely would not have been able to do it without them, for sure. Terry Fabro, the Palms in San Pedro, Changes in Latitude in San Pedro, Brian Fan, the entire Dangriga community. You guys know how much I love you guys. My Uncle Eamon Courtney, my closest friends, and so every single Belizean that has helped me, that has thought about me, given me encouraging words, sent me messages, shared my photos, or just anything that you have done to support Miss Belize. It has been appreciated, and it has driven me this entire process. So thank you guys so much. I am forever grateful. I would never have been able to do it without you guys. So yes, thank you.
Well, thank you for being here as well. And I know that we will continue to see you moving around and still representing yourself and Belize. So we want to thank you for joining us and sharing your experience.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to go ahead now and take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by representatives of the U.S. Embassy, and we're going to be talking about the Archaeology in the Community project, so stay tuned.